Are you one of those individuals that finds yourself constantly worrying? Do you overthink things on a daily basis? Do you worry about everything from the weather to maybe your children, to your partner if you have one, to finances, to the war in Ukraine, to the economy, to the presidential insanity? Does everything create worry? And if it does, could it be genetically based? Hey, I'm David Essel. For the past 43 years, as number one best-selling author, counselor, executive coach, and more, we look at this, and from personal experience, I can tell you it's very difficult when we worry on a regular basis about a lot of things, especially those things that are out of our control. I'm going to talk about in control and out of control in a minute. I was talking to my brother yesterday, my brother Terry, younger brother, and we were discussing this thing about worry because I had gotten myself in the last couple of days into a state of anxiety, worrying about a certain project that's going on. And so I was talking to him about it. And I said, I'm going to do a video on this because, as a guy that helps others manage anxiety and worry, I want to just be honest and upfront and authentic and say, hey, I have those periods of time too. And as we were talking, I said to him, but it's not genetic related. As a matter of fact, they've never found a gene for anxiety, a gene for worry, or anything like that at all. So where does it come from? Most of the time it comes from the core family unit, 0 to 18, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandma, grandpa, whoever is constantly moving, whoever's constantly anxious or worrying about everything. We pick up these traits from the environment. That's where it comes from. There's an imprint that happens between 0 and 18 in everyone's life. You may not consciously say, I want to be like mom or dad who worry all the time. But if you're in an environment where there's a lot of anxiety and a lot of worry about money, about health, about relationships, about status, about jobs, careers, homes, it's very easy for a young child to pick this up and to just mimic the habits without even knowing it. Why? Because it gets stuck in the subconscious. Our environment, we suck in like a sponge. Now, my mom was a constant worrier. As my brother and I were talking, he said, the three of us, my sister Mary Diane, my brother and I, all have that trait. But it's not a genetic trait. Now, some people could say, I'm just concerned about the world. This is just who I am. And there's a part of that that's very valid, right? We want to be concerned and we want to have feelings of concern for our fellow human beings and the planet and everything else. But if it goes into where we're worrying about everything, that's where I want you to realize that that's probably something that's been implanted in youth, and now we have to figure out, well, what do we do next, right? What do we do? So there's a couple of things I want you to do. Number one, in control, out of control. When you're worrying, write down a list of things that you're worrying about. And then next to it, write down, is this in my control to change? Or is this out of my control to change? Now, you can't do anything about the presidential stuff unless it is just to vote, right? And do that for sure. You can't do anything about the economy. That's out of your control, except for cut expenses and look for ways to increase income. That's in your control, some of it, right? You can learn how to cut expenses and you can learn how to increase your income. Worrying about the weather isn't going to do anything. Worrying about is the plane going to be on time will not help you at all. Those things are out of your control. Worrying about is your child going to make the right decision with their major in college? Well, you can guide and help, but eventually it's going to be up to them and maybe their peers or their counselors, right? So there's a lot of worry that we can take away right away if we just write down next to it on paper, this is out of my control. Then what do? Big breath. Big breath. And I'm going to tell you something, and many people, including Eckhart Tolle and others, talk about this on a regular basis. When you're in the middle of worry, just start to follow your breath in and out of the body. When I teach people how to meditate, we start with this program. They start following the breath in and out of their body, and when they breathe in, when they inhale, they silently say to themselves in, and as they exhale, they silently say to themselves the word out. Now, when you're focusing on your breath, you cannot focus on your breath and worry at the same time. Isn't that beautiful? So you're giving yourself a break. Diaphragmatic breathing is the second thing. Now, it's similar, but it's a little different. Diaphragmatic breathing calms the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is all linked into anxiety throughout the body. The vagus nerve is the biggest nerve in the body, in the body. So when you put your hand on your stomach and you do deep belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing, you're calming calming that vagus nerve, which will calm the worry. And then the other thing is just a distraction. You know, you say, oh, I'm worrying way too much about the weather, way too much about the flight. Let me do this positive thing. Let me go for a walk. Let me look for pictures to take in nature, even if it's in your yard, right? We have answers to all of this. But the very first thing we need to remember is that the odds of it being genetically based are zero. And I'm going to tell you that's a good thing. And I tell you why it's a good thing. Whenever we say, well, it's genetics, that means it's out of our control. Whenever we say, well, I have this genetic predisposition, a lot of people say, well, because it's genetic, there's nothing I can do. I just got to live with it. Not the case with worry, not the case with anxiety. Listen, if I can help you, if you have comments, post below. If you want to share it, anything and everything to get yourself into a better state of mind, I'd love to have you do that. And if you need help with overcoming anxiety or constant worry, go to the website, talkdavid.com or davidessel.com. I'll post it below. And let's talk. Let's work together. We have solutions that'll blow your mind. I want you to be at peace. I want you to be calm, free of worry, at the highest level possible. I'm David Essel. Have a great day.